Hi, I'm Gerhard Schwantner with Sales 2.0.
And Barry Trailer with CSO Insights.
Can we start with the definition, Barry? What does Sales 2.0 mean?
Sure. There are a couple of things that I think are worth saying about Sales 2.0. One is, I guess, the definition that it is collaborative, and it's not just looking at the sales cycle, which the sales process, which I think there's been just tons and tons of discussion about, but also including and coordinating with the buying process and linking to that. I think that's probably the first major point. And the second is that it's technology enabled. And if Sales 1.0 was about command, control, and conquer, I think Sales 2.0 is about collaborate, choreograph, and capture.
So what you're really saying, if I can condense it, is that Sales 2.0 is how to use technology to improve sales productivity.
Well, I think it is that, but I think the mindset tends to be, what we do and how we sell to improve productivity. I think that's right, but I think it's also important to emphasize that there's a buying process going on, and that collaboration that's technology enabled, I think, is for sure.
So social media has changed the game. How do you see social media impacting 2.0?
Well, I think the internet has changed the game, and probably the single biggest change is that buyers are able to initiate the buying process long before sellers are even involved. In the old days, the buying process and selling process were sort of de facto synced up. A buyer either raised their hand and said, I'm looking for something, or a seller came in and said, have you thought about this? Either way, they kind of stepped off on the same foot at the same time. Today, with the internet, buyers can, visit corporate websites. They can read, industry reviews and product reviews. They can read customer blogs and criticisms, and all of that can happen without the seller ever being involved and possibly ever being aware. So, that precedes by a long way the kind of social networking. I think as people become more comfortable with some of the social network technology, we'll see even more crosstalk between end users, between like users, that sort of thing. And I think that's going to have even greater bearing on how the sales cycle unfolds, really.
Barry, you published a white paper on Sales 2.0. Mm-hmm. What recommendations did you make to sales leaders to embrace Sales 2.0 to improve productivity?
Well, it's a two-part paper, and in the first part we really were sort of teeing up the changes between Sales 1.0 and Sales 2.0. It's called Run Away and Join the New Circus. And I think it's worth taking a moment to talk about the contrast between, sort of Sales 1.0 was very much like the old three-ring Barnum and Bailey circus, where there are a few big stars and a ringmaster. But basically, there are all these minions and this chaos, kind of controlled chaos going on. And it's very much old school, and I think most people who've been to the circus in the last few years probably feel like it's kind of tired, been there, done that. The new circus, if you think about Cirque du Soleil, is very different. It's choreographed. There may be stars, but everybody is featured and highlighted. There's a theme. It's not just chaos. It's this coordinated and collaborative and choreographed, very tightly choreographed performance. So I think that may help create a visual for the difference we see between Sales 1.0 and Sales 2.0. It's not
the way I see it is Sales 1.0 is about information, and Sales 2.0 is about interaction and collaboration.
Yeah, I think Sales 1.0 is about information, but it's basically unilateral. It's us broadcasting, sort of one way, as opposed to a dialogue, really.
So how can sales managers cash in on that interaction opportunity with customers? What technology should they embrace?
Well, I think underlying the technology, this is not new, is process. And I think that a lot has been said about process, but still we find that most sales management today, and most senior management today, when they look at sales, are not interested in process. That's sort of interesting. What they're interested in are the results. but you don't do results. You do stuff, and the results are a reflection of the stuff you do and how well you do it. That stuff is sales process. And so, our invitation and what we're saying in part 2 of the white paper is, to really get clear on what your process is and, to begin to manage that.
So
now, what technologies support that are the ones that do more than just catalog milestones.
You say technology should come second, process comes first, and then technology.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. We're going to continue our conversation with Barry Trail tomorrow, where we talk about Sales Management 2.0. Join us.